What makes a cookie so expensive? It's just sugar, flour, and butter.
Buckle up, Josh. You're about to find out. You cool to take this one, award-winning pastry chef Christina Tosi?
Oh, yeah. I was born for this one.
This is a hot dog is a sandwich.
Ketchup is a smoothie.
Yeah, I put ice in my cereal, so what?
That makes no sense.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
What? You thought that was seductive?
Okay, fine. More like official. Is that better?
Welcome to our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich, the show we break down the world's biggest food debates. I'm your host, Josh Scher.
And I'm your host, Nicole Inaidi.
And today we have a very special guest on the pod. She's the founder, owner of MilkBar, a James Beard award-winning pastry chef, and the progenitor of cool girl baking, a woman who is as iconic as her cereal, milk, ice cream, and compost cookies. It is the Christina Tosi.
Woo!
Christina, welcome to the show.
Hi,
Thank you for being here.
I mean, is a hot dog a sandwich? It sure is.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm over the drama. It is.
A woman on the right side of history. We founded this podcast more than 5 years ago at this point, and we had not covered the actual topic of whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich until we did a 5-part series where we interviewed a philosopher, a historian, a lawyer, because there have been multiple legal battles over this, and then an actual hot dog business owner to get the real boots on the ground. And then we debated people on the street. And we've still been split until now because Nicole wants to defer to you, which I really respect.
Yes, I am a very respectful debater.
But the reason we wanted to have you here today is because I feel like we are going through maybe a third, I'm going to call it the third wave cookie renaissance.
I knew you were going to say renaissance.
There's a new renaissance, but I think you can sort of track these waves of cookie popularity. And now for the first time, I feel like it's gone completely global. I was in France recently and I've not seen so many cookies among all of the like French viennoiserie.
Really?
Yeah, and they're just called les cookies, which is really funny. Les brownies as well. They're very popular all over. But you are one of the ones leading that renaissance, and we want to talk all about the economics of a cookie and what actually goes into the pricing, because we've gotten a lot of comments from our listeners talking about how expensive baked goods are. And at the beginning of the pod, I said it's just sugar, flour, and butter. But Christina, I imagine it is so much more than that.
Oh, Josh, it's so much more than that. First of all, amazing French accent. And also, I think that is such an interesting call out, because when I was becoming a professional pastry chef 20 years ago, like going to culinary school, you studied French technique. And there was nary a cookie recipe anywhere near the curriculum, to the extent that they don't even really have a French word for cookie or brownie, to your point, which is a bar cookie. So is a brownie a cookie? Yes, it's a bar cookie.
Oh, snap.
A brownie. And I think that's fascinating. Oh, rename the podcast. We're doing a spinoff. Is a brownie a cookie? I might be Cookie's biggest fan. Like, I wrote a cookbook that's all about cookies that really blurs the line of what a cookie can and can't be. And I think it's really just scratching the surface. But the reason I do what I do for a living and have my whole life is because of the power of a cookie and its inherent humility. The fact that you never get a cookie recipe that makes one, right? It's always a batch of cookies. It's meant to be shared. The power of a cookie, what it does for us, et cetera, et cetera. But beyond the emotion of it and the deliciousness of a cookies, it's not easy to make a good cookie. It is easy to make a cookie and a mediocre cookie implicitly, or a subpar cookie, but it's not easy to make a great cookie. To pay rent on a storefront for any bakery, you got to sell. My phrase I always tell the teams, you got to sell a lot of cookies to pay the rent. And the economics of making a great cookie, well, they're more complicated now than they were almost 18 years ago when I opened MilkBar. You ready for it? You want me to just go? You want me to should I put on my bifocals and be like, okay, Josh, let me tell you.
I would actually kind of love that.
We would love to be schooled on it.
The CFO, the COO. Okay, we'll do CFO Christina and then COO Christina, and then we can just be a baker again.
Okay, love it.
Okay. So basics of a great cookie, right? Like raw ingredients: butter, great cookie, unsalted European style butter, so that the dairy is cultured. So there's a depth of flavor to the butter before you even start mixing it with these other ingredients to make it greater than some of its parts. Some cookies are better with part shortening. And I don't mean that because you're like shortchanging the experience. You just get a better shelf life. If you've ever had like an oatmeal cookie that has part butter and part shortening in it, the shortening is all fat, where butter is some milk solids, some water, and some fat. So you're getting more flavor in butter, but you get like a softer, tender for a longer period of time cookie if you can find the right ratio of shortening without forfeiting flavor. Sugar, granulated sugar, light brown sugar, dark brown sugar. There's all honey, maple. There's all different sugar systems that you can bring into place depending on the flavor story of the cookie. Eggs. I don't like a cookie with a lot of eggs, but a little bit of egg truly. And I've gone at every single one of our recipes and questioned every ingredient and the ratio of every ingredient at MilkBar. A cookie without eggs, when we go through like avian bird flu or some of these other egg shortages, a cookie without egg is just not as good. If you remove the egg entirely, the texture is out the window. We've replaced the egg in our cookies at times with flax. One, for like people with egg allergies, and you can get similar in texture, but you start hacking away at what makes a really great cookie as delicious. The flax just doesn't come with the same richness, even though you can almost reconstruct the texture that an egg brings. Some sort of flavor. So typically vanilla extract. Is it dark vanilla extract, like your favorite chocolate chip cookie, like that deep sultry vanilla extract? Is it clear vanilla extract, like our confetti cookie, where it's light and creamy? And then there's like a world of extracts, right? You can get a brown butter extract, you can get a maple extract, you can get a fudgy extract, a citrusy extract. I can't even tell you how many extracts we have. We have so many. Anything can be a flavored extract that helps boost the flavor story of just the baseline cookie dough before you get to all the inclusions, mix-ins. That's usually all the wet ingredients. If we're talking about like a true drop cookie, should have even backed out there. I'm talking about just like, we're talking classic chocolate chip cookie, drop and bake, because there's so many different kinds of cookies. Then dry ingredients, so flour, but flour, all-purpose flour. Is it high protein? Is it low protein based on the texture of your cookie? I don't know, is there some like rye flour in it? Are you smoking the flour because you want kind of like a smoked chocolate chip cookie? Is there some corn flour, some oat flour, or some wheat berry flour, whole wheat flour, et cetera, pumpernickel flour? There's so many different dry flours you can bring in to tell the flavor story, texture. Is it gluten-free flour? Because it's a gluten-free cookie. Gluten-free is so much more expensive because what makes up the gluten-free flour hasn't been commoditized the way that wheat has. So it's just more expensive to grow, to harvest, to mill down. Then typically salt. Every cookie needs salt. Every baked goods needs salt. Not because it's salty sweet, but just to help sharpen the edges of flavor and contextualize it. Baking powder or baking soda, your leaveners, right? Baking powder gives you height. Baking soda gives you breadth. But also those two leaveners, you don't need both, but some cookies use both. They help even distribution of color in the baking oven, and then they actually add acid to your cookie dough. So if you ever left baking powder, baking soda out, you would know, not just because the cookie isn't either growing in height or breadth, and because the cookie is like strangely colored when it's baked compared to what happens when you have it in, but you will be like, this cookie doesn't taste as good because it doesn't have that slight bit of acid. And then you have all the other add-ins. So inclusions, chocolate chips, chocolate chunks, if we're just going chocolate chip cookie. I believe we were talking earlier, milk powder for me is the MSG of the baking world, but specifically in cookie, it's gonna give your cookie a deeper, rounder flavor. It's gonna give it more chew if you want a chewy chocolate chip cookie. And then, I mean, as the person that was like, I have an idea, let's put all of the things into the cookie, which is what the compost cookie, the classic MilkBar compost cookie is, where it's like pretzels, potato chips, oats, ground coffee, butterscotch, chocolate, graham crackers. I think I got it all. But the way that we tell flavor stories, to your point, Josh, like the third renaissance of cookie, right? The flavor stories that are coming out in cookie form are all about how we are inspired by, I have made a hot dog cookie, by the way, how we are inspired by something that inspires us to turn it into a cookie. So like you could make a malted Oreo milkshake cookie and think about all the other ingredients you need to then add into that cookie, just raw ingredients to make it taste like that. So that's raw ingredients. Then you've got the labor involved with measuring and weighing so that the formula is just right, because baking is a science. Mixing it, scooping it, chilling it, maybe depending on it, putting it in the oven, taking it out, cooling it, handing it to someone, wrapping it, putting it in a box, whatever it is. You've got your overhead, right? So that's the labor of it, but you've got your rent, you've got all your other utilities. You got to have an oven that works, whether it's gas or electric. You have to have a walk-in fridge or, a single door or double door going. So then you've got CapEx, right? What table are you making that cookie on? What mixer are you using? Who paid for that oven, right? Are you depreciating it on your schedule, et cetera, et cetera? And then, of course, you have the packaging of it, right? Like, is it going in a cute little bag? Are you handing it to someone on a cute little napkin? Most people, when you buy a cookie, they aren't just putting it in the palm of your hand. Maybe they're using a spatula to put it on. Like, there's a whole shtick to, we want like our cookie dream to come true. And that comes with the controllables on a P&L of a cookie to get that cookie to you for that experience. Nowadays, I mean, even during COVID, like the cottage bakeries, even nowadays, right? So you can get a great cookie in the mail through DTC for someone that has foregone a higher occupancy cost, but they're still paying for shipping and boxing and tape. How cute is the label? What about the insert that tells you how to store your cookie and what to do with your cookie, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have, usually a small write-off line of spoilages, right? Like maybe a cookie, have you ever like taken your cookies out of the oven and your pot holder thumb accidentally dents a cookie and you're like, well, I can't sell that. I'm going to eat that cookie, but I can't sell that now. Or a cookie breaks when you're handing it to someone or packaging it, or maybe you didn't sell all the cookies you thought you were going to do in a day, or maybe the box of cookies didn't arrive on time for someone's big occasion, blah, 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 blah. That's a line item of the P&L because you're going to send someone a new box of cookies instead. But raw ingredients, I'd say, is the biggest piece of why a cookie is so darn.
I love listening to you talk about cookies. What do you want to?
I could go further, but I saw Josh's eyes be like, I'm not ready for all of this.
I internalized everything. I internalized it all.
That was my own machine turning on where this was going. But no, go, Nicole. You have the floor.
I just loved it. I mean, what do you want to talk about next? You have the floor. You want croissants? Well, you want 15 minutes on croissants? I'll give it to you.
I wanted to ask a question. All of this sort of calls into question of like, what is a bakery now? Because you were mentioning cookies by mail and just going DTC. We have a friend. He runs a fantastic small, fledgling bakery called Lexington Bakes.
Yes.
Where he makes just super high quality cookies, brownies, whatever you want to call them. They're all square for oven efficiency purposes. Yeah. But he was telling me he was trying to go straight DTC, that's direct to consumer for all our listeners out there, except to get on all of these delivery apps that now people are just using the DoorDash, the Grubhub, the Postmates to get cookies delivered to them. He needs to be registered as a bakery, which means he needs to have a brick and mortar storefront.
Does he have to get not an S corp, but he has to get an LLC and everything like that?
They seem to have their own guidelines on what actually constitutes a restaurant that a driver will pick the cookie up from, and having like a ghost kitchen or a commissary kitchen where he normally does his baking and then packages it himself, it doesn't exactly count. And so there's these strange hidden overhead costs. And like his packaging is beautiful because if you're direct to consumer and you're sending them out, that needs to be beautiful and tell a story. Or if you want to grab attention in a storefront. And so like when you're talking about the overhead I remember when MilkBar hit Melrose in LA and all of us, flocked down there. It's beautiful and it's well designed and there's obviously intention that went into the feeling that you get when you're being in there, how much of that, like the economics actually factored into that decision? Like, was there any part of you that was like, we can just do a mail order business or we can just supply to restaurants, we can just go into stores?
Interesting. It's such a great question. I mean, I opened MilkBar in November of 2008 in the East Village of New York City. And in my mind, it was always an in-person experience. I mean, November 2008 was like when the economy was, there's no other time in American history or the most recent time in history that the financial health and well-being was as scary in a place, was exactly that time. Right. So one would say terrible time to open a bakery, but in my mind, it had to be a physical bakery. Like I wanted to see people. Like my whole point of MilkBar was I want to make people happy with dessert and I want to democratize dessert. And so one cookie had to be on the menu because of the democratization that I think a cookie holds in its size, shape, format. It's Trojan horse for flavor and for so much more. I wanted to bake for you. I didn't want to bake away from you. I wanted to kind of like bake with you, if you will. And I wanted you to be there. Open kitchen, right? Like we see all of these things now and they seem like they've always been this way, but having an open kitchen where you could actually see the people not just cooking savory food for you, but baking for you did not exist. Pastry departments, you know, they're behind the scenes, they're in the basement, they're in the back, there's no windows. So for me, it had to be in person. On some level, that's just what made sense in my brain. But because we got so much like love and fanfare and support so early on, then I was like, well, if I'm going to democratize, like I really want this idea of democratization of dessert to this is true for me. I would just get it. I was also the customer. Who's running your customer service? That's another overhead. Okay, I was our customer service, both on email and on phone. And I would get calls in, right, at random times of the day whenever we'd get like a cool piece done about us. And this one sweet woman, I think she was in Kansas, was like, well, honey, like I'd be like, well, here are hours, you can come in. And she was like, well, honey, I'm never going to make it to New York City. I've never been in my life. I've noticed, but I really want to try, I really want to try your bakery. And I took a step back and was like, well, when I left home and went to college, like my mom would just send the cookies in a care package. Mm-hmm. She would underbake them because I like a slightly fudgy center. And so I was like, okay, I'll just put it in, like, just tell me what you want. I'll write down your information. I'll put it in the mail. And we launched the DTC arm of our business in 2008, 2009. So this is before DTC was even an acronym, before anyone even thought about sending food in the mail as a business, before there were any real regulations for it, et cetera, et cetera. I think maybe Omaha Steaks.
I was going to say it was Omaha Steaks and
right?
edible
Omaha
arrangements.
Yeah. Or Harry and David, yeah, but sure. Exactly. Pat LaFrida was not shipping, but then when we did that, we were like, well, that's pretty cool. It's like we have a spaceship of baked goods that's just orbiting around the US, or like a drone delivery service where we can just bring our baked goods to wherever people are, and built that part of it. But you're right, Josh, like that part's expensive. Even on-demand delivery, they take a percentage of your sales, right? Like who's paying the piper? You are as a business owner, not as the customer. But there's so many different ways to do business. I mean, I know people that like host little cafes in their New York City apartments.
I've seen those.
That's how they do business.
Yep.
Obviously, there's like the whole farmers market bit. You can wholesale to your local coffee shop or where you think people are getting your baked goods. You can go into grocery stores or the little shoppy shops. But you're right, each of them has like different overhead pieces. And a lot of it comes down to both like the LLC, like articles of organization of, are you a legitimate business? And then the other piece of it typically is the health department, right? Like whatever jurisdiction you fall under, and town to town, city to city, state to state, those regulations differ. So I think across the US, and to your point, Josh, like across the world now, across the globe, you get these really interesting manifestations of cookie shops or bakeries because they're products of ingenuity and entrepreneurship of people that freaking love cookies and believe in the power of a cookie.
I'm curious what your margins are in like more acronyms in the CPG part of your business in stores versus DTC versus like in your brick and mortar store. Like how much money are you making from each cookie sale in each of those three realms?
So interestingly enough, in the grocery store and CPG, there's almost no margin left because you aren't just selling your cookie to the Gelsons of the world. You're selling them to someone that's selling them to someone that's putting them in Gelsons, and Gelson's paying a piper to pay a piper to pay a piper to pay you. That part of selling cookies is super tricky, which is why you see, I think, far less innovation and far less maybe newcomers that stay that are doing something that is as magical as what we see in the other sectors of business. So that's another way to sort of, you can as a consumer gauge what profitability looks like in different sectors by saying, where am I seeing the most innovation, cool stuff, cool flavors, delicious flavors, and where am I seeing the least? You see the least in grocery because of that. DTC, it kind of depends on how you have the relationship with your customer. Are you giving them free shipping? Are they paying for shipping? How cool, to your point, is like the unboxing and packaging experience.
Right.
And is that getting built into a handling cost, or is that getting built into the cost of a cookie? Everyone does the accounting bit of it a little differently. in person, the margins are the best, provided you have people that are coming in for cookies all the time, because you're paying. When you worked an hourly job? I think we all started somewhere in the food industry, right? They weren't like, hey, Nicole, you can take the next 4 hours off unpaid because no one's coming in to buy cookies now. Like you're going to work under the premise that you are making cookies and helping the bakery sell these cookies for the entirety of your shift.
Exactly.
And rent doesn't decrease based on the number of cookie sales you
Correct.
have. Usually it depends on your rent structure, whether it's like base or base percentage. Most landlords won't do a pure percentage rent-based deal, but it's basically it is in-person bakery has the potential for the highest margin at a certain scale, then DTC, depending on where you put the dollars and cents and who's paying, and then grocery or CPG. Unless you get to a crazy scale, Josh, where you have an entire cookie factory and everything is mechanized, and you're at like the scale of Oreo, where you do see some cool, like some of the bigger cookie behemoths are really trying to get into the mix a bit. But you can see the push-pull of like where they want to innovate and then where they're hamstrung either in mechanization or they don't want to take the risk of building like the robot to make the cool cookie as cool as it could be. And they're like, maybe this is good enough.
So much of their innovation, because I'm actually really curious about like where MilkBar stands in all of this, because obviously you have the Nabiscos of the world, the Pepperidge Farms of the world, who I'm sure they're owned by some sort of food conglomerate or private equity firm. Or even like Tate's, to me, is one of the newer cookies that has really been in storefronts for a long time.
Iconic, yeah.
Then you have the people like our friend Lexington Bakes, who's, in a commissary kitchen grinding it out himself. You, I think, are sort of in this middle ground where you are able to innovate, you are able to use still incredible products, and obviously the buck stops with you as far as keeping that quality. But what sort of challenges have you faced with trying to take what is like artisanal and beautiful and frankly very personal to you and your story and trying to then automate and get to that economy of scale?
I mean, it's such a good question, Josh. It's like 17 years of successes and failures that are like just dotted. It's not a straight line. There's all kinds of dots along the way of surprise to no one. I learned all of this on the job. Because they certainly don't teach it to you in French pastry school, my friend. They don't have a word for cookie, nor do they have like the P&L and all of the ins and outs of how it's going to go for you. But when I started MilkBar, I was like, we're going to mix big batches of cookie, bigger than what I know from making it at home or in my free time as a pastry cook or pastry chef. So we're going to hand mix everything with a giant Hobart mixer. We're going to hand scoop. We're going to chill. We're going to bake, because this is chef crafted cookie land. And one of my biggest things in building MilkBar has always been taking a step back to go, like, where's our bottleneck? We want to democratize dessert. And as much as sort of like hype culture and has had moments along the way, I want everyone to be able to come in that wants a freaking cornflake chocolate chip marshmallow cookie. And like, for me, there is no greater disappointment than when you get to your bakery that you know and love and trust, and they're like, oh, we're sold out. Like, for me, that hurts, that angers me and hurts my heart. Because I'm like, I will text me. I will go there. I will mix the bat. Like, I really believe when you want that dessert, you should be able to have that dessert. You worked hard for it. You need it. You deserve it in life. And so in the bottleneck of it, one of the very first bottlenecks of MilkBar was we could not scoop cookies fast enough. Or to say differently, like me, Leslie Behrens, now Leslie Disher, Courtney McBroom, Helen Jo Mary, right? Like, you'd onboard a pastry cook. The poorest use of me or anyone else that's like a pastry sous or whatever's time is being on the cookie scooping station, right? Like, we need to be running the business. But the reality was we were the fastest cookie scoopers. So we were like, we are going to need a bigger boat. Okay, we need a cookie scooping machine. How do we find a cookie scooping machine that allows for all of these different crumbs and crunches and? One doesn't exist, Josh, right? Like, it's only because the big guys are the ones that are defining what the industry standard is, and they're not putting cool stuff in their cookies.
Nope.
So we found this burger patty portioner after like long research. So you've got a bunch of gals who are trained pastry chefs learning how to be like food scientists and engineers and we found this like hilarious hamburger patty machine because, you know, in hamburger patty land, you want to touch your dough as little as humanly possible, right? Or your patty so that it's tender and juicy and. And we found that, and that was one of our unlocks. So as we've scaled, there is always a push-pull. You have to make a bet in order to try and get more of your people more cookies when they want them, where they want them. And you learn a lot along the way, right? Like you learn everything along the way to the point of like, ooh, do we want to put shortening in a cookie? It's got such a bad rap, but it makes a better cookie. What's the best packaging that's going to make someone, if I can't hand you the cookie in person at a bakery? I mean, we bake our cookies in store at all of our, you know, bakeries nationwide. But some people come in and are like, I want to stuff my bag with the cookies because I'm going home and I want to bring 20 cookies in my suitcase. Well, I can't give you the cookies in that like amazingly cute pink box because they will not make the flight. You would also eat them all or they'd be broken.
Right.
So what is the best possible packaging experience? But you don't want the packaging experience in bakery to make people feel like the cookie isn't freshly baked. And we've taken these sort of like chances and risks and asked ourselves these questions along the way. And we've gone so far in both directions. Like we used to bake everything on site and never package anything. And then Alan Richmond, amazing food reporter for GQ and all of the publications when we first opened, we got mad respect from him. And he's like, I'm gonna bring all these cookies home to my neighbors in Connecticut. I was like, oh my God, this is a dream come true. This is really gonna put us on the map. An hour later, I get the most honest, heartbreaking email from him that's basically like, girlfriend, you need to get it together.
Oh my gosh.
Because the cookies, they're crumbled. Like I can't give them to anyone. I am this amazingly accomplished food reporter and food reviewer. I can't give people, like, you got to figure out how to get your cookies to people that aren't standing in front of you. So I was like, okay, I have an idea. Then we started, and then I was like, we're going to package all of our cookies. And we packaged all of our cookies. And then people were like, it doesn't feel the same, right? Yeah. Like I want to be able to walk in and have it smell like a cookie. And we went too far into operationalizing it. Or we were like, we're going to try a new cookie scooping machine and then all of a sudden it made the cookies less delicious because there were less crumbs and chunks and pieces. I mean, I could go on, but it's basically been fine tuning a recipe for 17 years. And I don't think we're anywhere near done. And I love that part of my job. And it also is the most humbling, harrowing, nightmarish part of the job too, because y'all know when you put up something that you know is not exactly we can't be like, close the doors, shut down the business. No one's allowed to have a cookie today. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, these are the things that go through a crazy cookie lover's head on a daily basis.
If it's any consolation, Anthony Bourdain wrote an entire chapter in his book Medium Raw called Alan Richmond is a Douchebag.
Oh.
And so that's not me calling him that. That's simply saying there's an entire chapter devoted to it. So
goodness.
he is very, very blunt with his words. But I think it really...
Well, that bluntness is what caused a phenomenon.
Truly.
Sometimes bluntness works.
Yeah.
Bluntness works.
I think we're kind of existing in a bit of a paradox right now where people want everything on demand, but part of the love for certain things is almost the exclusivity and the scarcity of it, right?
Sure.
So it's like we're living in this weird area where you want something that is artisanal, that's handed directly to you from the cookie baker, but also you don't want a crumbly cookie because you're 2,000 miles away in a parish in Louisiana.
Yeah, but also can you get it to me in an hour? I'm on an island off the coast of wherever, yes.
Yeah, and so it's incredible watching,
That's one of the trickiest parts. It's one of the trickiest parts of being in business and running a business. I think the thing I keep reminding myself, I think we've always done our best work. I think most people do their best work when they have blinders on, right? Where you are not chasing, my mom used to call it like Mrs. Got Rocks. You're not chasing what someone else has, and you're not chasing what you think you should be doing. You are trying to put your blinders and your noise canceling headphones on and do what you believe is true. The world needs more of that, more than it needs more of what someone else is doing and the referential spinoffs, because I think that just waters down what is in the world of AI, right? We're going to get so much goodness from it, and there's so much scary stuff from it. I think artistically, if we consider cookie making an art, which I do, but not in like a highbrow, snooty way, we're going to get more awesome cookie evolution if we can do more of that and stop trying to be everything to everyone all the time. And it's easier said than done. I think it's easier said than done. But what I would say, like we talk about it in bakeries, I'm always like, I wish we could do a thing where we say to all the people that love cookies and love MilkBar and it is, we care so much about it, and we're not going to be able to be everything all the time. And it's hard work, not in a feel sorry for me way, but in a, if you want the best possible cookie, there's a piece of it where you have to trust. It's not a request for respect. It's a request of trust in what it takes to get there. Because if the more trust there is, the better cookie you're going to get every time, and cookie you're going to get universally.
That was beautiful.
Slow clap.
For what it's worth. Just one gal's opinion.
Fall is the perfect season to invest in yourself. And what better way than learning a new language? Whether you're planning a trip, craving a new challenge, or just looking to make the most of cozy nights in, Rosetta Stone makes it simple to turn just a few minutes a day into real progress.
Rosetta Stone has been the trusted leader in language learning for over 30 years. Their immersive, intuitive method helps you naturally absorb and retain your new language, with lessons available on desktop or mobile so you can learn anytime, anywhere.
I love how approachable the lessons are. Bite-sized, easy to follow, and their true accent speech recognition gives real-time feedback that actually helps me sound more natural. It feels like having a personal language coach right there with me.
And with 25 languages to choose from Spanish and French to Japanese and beyond, you'll find the one that fits your goals. So don't wait. Unlock your language learning potential now.
A Hot Dog is a Sandwich listeners can grab Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 50% off. That's unlimited access to 25 language courses for life. Visit rosettastone.com/hotdog to get started and claim your 50% off today.
Don't miss out. Go to rosettastone.com/hotdog and start learning today. All right, Nicole and Christina, we've heard what you and I have to say. Now it's time to find out what other wacky ideas are rattling out there in the universe. It's time for a little segment we call
Opinions Are Like Casseroles.
All right, Christina, you ready to hear our fans' first opinion about dessert? Be easy on them. You got to be easy on them. I mean, well, be firm but fair.
So Sergio Ortiz says Hawaiian rolls are dessert.
Here is where I love dessert so much. I have opinions about dessert much like casseroles.
Okay, good.
And Sergio, I would say if Hawaiian rolls are where you get your like sweet little dirty dessert secret sugar fix, I would 10 out of 10 eat a Hawaiian roll as a dessert. I mean, I'd probably like gild the lily. Like I'd want to like break it up, lather it in like butter and cinnamon sugar, and then bake it anew. Like make a cinnamon toast. Is it an ice cream sandwich, which is a sandwich? And then like there's so much you could do with Hawaiian roll in dessert land. But also I probably have been there where I'm desperate for dessert. And I'm like, well, that's sweet. I'll eat that and call it dessert. So,
right.
I mean, it's crafted.
I feel like the French are always complaining. One, that could stand alone as a statement, but they're also always complaining about what we've done to their beautiful brioche. It is not for the hamburger. Brioche is like a dessert. It's like almost like an eggy yeast cake.
Okay.
Very similar with like brioche, like gelato con brioche in Italy.
Sure.
And to me, Hawaiian rolls, growing up in California, King's Hawaiian, like that was sold with every rotisserie chicken meal at the grocery store. Put a scoop of ice cream in a King's Hawaiian roll. I don't know that you can get a better ice cream sandwich.
Let me tell you what I would do. I agree with this 100%. I take the Hawaiian roll, I cut it in half, I put it in a toaster oven for approximately 30 seconds, and then I take peanut butter, probably Laura Scudder's peanut butter, because you know how much my mom loves that, and then random chocolate chips, because again, ingredient household. So that would be the dessert I would make. And also probably a little bit of salt, because I love salty peanut butter, like a lot.
And so Laura Scudder's ain't got no salt, no sugar.
Laura Scudder's has no joy. You must find the joy in the Laura Scudder's, which I do. I find the joy in it.
Also, can we just say King's Hawaiian Rolls? Yes. King's Hawaiian Rolls' whole business is that you're eating your savory on a dessert item.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like the TLDR of it, and you can take it on so many dessert adventures.
I love
it.
All right, we got another one.
That's all caps, yes.
This one is from Zach Garber. He says, almost all desserts are better cold. Cold brownies, cold cake, cold cookies, cold pie. I'm really curious about this one, Christina.
No, that's a no.
Where do you stand on that? What temperature should a brownie be eaten?
I'm not saying that great dessert isn't sometimes cold. 100% it is, but it is not a universal standard. Sometimes it's room temperature and sometimes it's hot. A cookie should be eaten, depends on the cookie. At room temperature, if it's a chewy cookie, hot, if you are going for like, you know, a hot out of the oven cookie. For me, it's cookie dough that's warmed slightly in the microwave. It's a little cold. It's a little hot in moments. Obviously cold, but then it's like MilkBar pie is best out of the fridge. But cereal milk is frozen. But cereal milk is frozen because it's soft serve at like 14 degrees Fahrenheit, where like hard pack mint cookies and cream, my favorite ice cream, is much colder than that. So I think dessert runs the temperature gamut. It just depends on what it is.
You ever had a cold cobbler before?
Yeah, it's not as good as a cold
gross.
pie, I'd say.
It's gross.
Well, I think a cold pie, ice cold fruit pie though, ice cold custard pie as well.
You like those?
I want my pies ice cold.
Oh no!
I want the, and I think even then, like, if the
warm cherry pie, isn't there like a whole song?
Wait,
No,
are you talking
sweet
fruit
cherry pie?
Are you talking like lemon curd or key lime pie or?
Those should be
my
cold.
Gosh, wait,
like
Josh, are you saying that you're into cold pie?
Very cold.
Cold everything?
Well, no, not everything. Because I think like a cookie, I think there needs to be like fresh out of the oven, but is sat for about 19 minutes, you know, in a windowsill.
I agree. Okay,
where it's bordering on room. Like, but I agree with you that every one of these desserts in context has its own, you know, temperature. But I think most pies, I think I want like fresh out of an ice cold diner fridge where they keep next to the prepackaged Cobb salads.
Oh no.
That's what I
Like
want.
apple pan pie.
Yeah, you go to Pie and Burger in Pasadena, and you get their butterscotch meringue pie.
Okay.
It comes at borderline.
There we go. That I'll give you, but I'm with Nicole and like I am not so sure about that as a universal statement.
No, I like my
Neither am I.
I guess I like my fruit-based desserts to be on the warmer side, like whole fruits, like cobblers, buckles, pies. Oh, but you know, have you ever had an unset brownie? Sometimes an unset brownie, which if your intention is for it to be ooey gooey, delicious, dreamy, whatever. But if it's like if you can't pick it up with your hand because it's so melty gooey, I think that defeats the purpose. But if you set it, cut it, let it like. I was going to say it in Farsi, like jamo jurbeshe, which is so random, just get together. And then you warm it up for like 10 seconds in the microwave. I'm down with that.
I love it.
Yeah. Plus brownie sundae, but also you guys, have you ever just had brownie batter as dessert out of the fridge where you don't make the brownie at all?
Yeah,
that's dessert. That's where our guy is right, where you're like, yeah,
mousse.
give it to me cold, babe.
That's just chocolate mousse, baby. Okay, Moshe Isaacson says, any cake with fondant tastes very chemically and should be banned.
I think most cake, I mean, you're talking to the lady who was like, we stop frosting the sides of cake. We're not going to do it anymore. Everyone, come on. Let's start this revolution.
That's right.
I think cakes that are covered in fondant are beautiful, 100%. But I want to eat my cake. I don't want to just stare at my cake. I want to eat it. I'm here for I'm here not to look at the cake. I'm here to eat the cake. I mean, fondant, the makeup of fondant, most fondant, it's sugar. There's a few other things in it. We won't get. It's not about is fondant too expensive. We won't get into that. That's the P&L of it.
Because it is.
It's sugar. I think it's more that fondant fondant implicitly is not meant to taste like anything. It's meant to be a duvet cover for a cake that you can put other things on.
Oh, you're so right.
I think it's about function. I think the tricky part is we put it over something that people want to eat. So now everyone has an opinion about what fondant tastes like, rightfully so. But I think that's where fondant is a little, you know, if you want fondant on like your pretty celebration cake, fine, but then get another cake to slice into. Like let it be a centerpiece, but don't have it be the thing that people are going to eat. Unless they just want it to taste like basically confectioner sugar, because that's most of the makeup of fondant.
I had a question from like a baking standpoint. Does the fondant kind of insulate the cake in a way?
It does.
Okay, so
does.
like
not intentionally. Like you crumb coat,
yeah.
you normally stack your cake. You put this really thin layer of icing on called a crumb coat because it's not meant to be a perfect coat. You're meant to see crumbs through it. And that frosting acts as glue for the fondant to go over it. You have to keep fondant thick enough so that you can't see the chocolate cake below, right? You don't want it almost translucent. You want it thick enough. But you're so right, Nicole. What fondant ends up doing then is insulating the cake in a way that keeps, I mean, our man with a love for cold dessert is probably super into fondant covered cake because
do you eat fondant?
It's always cold on the inside.
I eat fondant plain.
You eat fondant plain. I knew you were going to say
There you
you sicko. Every day you get sicker and sicker to me. You know that?
It's like I grew up with a lot of guinea pigs, and they'd have like a wood bit that they'd chew on.
What does that have to do with
Because they'd have a wood bit that they'd chew on, and that to me is like fondant. It's my little wood bit. I like the texture.
You're like a little sugar fix. You like a sugar baby or a sugar daddy. You're like, give me a sugar cube. I need my sugar right now.
Literally, yes.
I'm here for you.
Do you know what my most commonly eaten confection is in our kitchen? We have those little cubes of Thai palm sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And I just grab them and eat them like candy.
there you
go. Yeah.
So I understand that but also a Swedish princess cake, that's covered in marzipan, right? It's not a fondant.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful green.
Marzipan is not a fondant. It's like an almond paste.
I would eat
which
that.
Is a little bit of almond and a lot of sugar and usually a little bit of almond extract. Like fondant could up the ante if they added a flavor powder or an extract to the makeup of fondant, so the fondant actually tasted like strawberry. Marzipan tastes like almond extract and almond paste.
I'll eat that.
That's what
But the
makes
covering on a princess cake, like that almost acts to me as a bit of a fondant, right? I've never made one because I'm a coward.
I can't make one.
But
I'm scared.
But can we also say like merits of fondant on a cake just outright? It locks all of the moisture in. So unless someone really overbaked the cake or didn't soak the cake or you're getting generally a pretty nice moisture sponge on the inside because the moisture doesn't have anywhere to go. It stays locked into the cake.
Yeah.
Cake
But
soaks.
if you have a dry cake under your fondant, just peel the fondant off, send it to Josh in a cute DTC package, charge him for
you
it.
understand me.
Charge him for the packaging. He's a happy customer. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh God, I need help. All right, this one it might mean fighting words right here, but we'll see. This is from @Juju. Less frosting means better cake. Frosting is how bad cakes hide.
Ooh, I mean, one of the other reasons that we don't frost the sides of the cake at MilkBar, I love frosting, I think, more than anyone else. And I'm in like Josh Fondant land in frosting. Like I am at the birthday party where you get the grocery store cake and I'm like, give me the corner piece and I eat all the frosting off of it. Because most people, I think, don't put enough thought into cake and how good the sponge should be. Every element of the cake should be a knockout hit in a single bite where it doesn't need its co-conspirators in the layers of it, frostings, fillings, whatever. That's how a great cake is made. I think frosting and cake have a tricky relationship because if you have someone that didn't really care about the cake and was just like, it's cake, look, it's a sponge, it bounces, look, it holds the frosting, I'm done, then you're gonna 100%. That's a mad cake. Juju's right. That's a mad cake and it's all about the frosting. But I think people should spend more time making an awesome sponge and then an awesome frosting and then one's not hiding between the other. It's a perfect little balanced relationship.
I agree with
the
you. The
relationship between frosting and cake is a tricky one, Christina. That is one of the wildest statements that I've ever heard. I almost thought that would be one of the more simple relationships in the world. Wow, two things that are wonderful that found each other. But you're right. Sometimes great relationships, they are tricky. You have to put in the work.
They have what the
Why
other
are you
one
looking
needs.
at me
That's why it's a match made in heaven.
I agree with you 1,000%. I think if you put love, care, and attention into your sponge and you put love, care, and attention in your frosting, then both of them can exist within the same universe and they can be harmonious. It's all about harmony. I have the best opinion I've ever seen.
Go ahead.
I'm ready to say it. Sun Devils 84 says, barbecue sauce cookies made with Sweet Baby Ray's are amazing. Everyone should try them. Come on.
I'm here for it. This is where I will get so weird in a cookie. I appreciate that it's probably not going on the menu at MilkBar because no one's going to buy it. I know this because we had a soft serve flavor sweet years ago, and it was kind of this time of year. And I was like, it's going to be a backyard barbecue themed soft serve sweet of 4. One of the flavors was barbecue soft serve. Courtney Broom and I made that barbecue sauce from scratch. Every day with so much love and care. Family meal was popping. No one bought a single portion of barbecue soft serve. Everyone got their free sample just to be there for the experience.
Oh, brutal.
But no one bought a portion. Maybe it was the PR of it. Like maybe we should have just called it something different. Also, people are willing to take more risks, I think, in that flavor. in the flavor of things now, like where the flavor comes from and what it is. People are like more like make me feel alive. Wow.
Yes.
KC Masterpiece barbecue sauce meat or Sweet Baby Ray's. Let's go.
Chasing the dragon.
I think you just want to take a little bit of the water out of the barbecue sauce. I'd want to cook that barbecue sauce down a little bit because for it to be fluid, there's water, and water is the death of a great fudgy on the inside, crispy on the outside cookie. It would make a great cake. Otherwise, I'd want to just take some of the water out, cook it down a little bit before I made it into a cookie. Yeah, listen, it's not a no for me.
You should have shut down samples for that day. You should be like, no samples, buy a full portion or get the hell out of my store. I had like a miso caramel the other day, and I was like, I wish there wasn't. I was going to
talk about miso caramel.
There's something to me about almost it's like the glutamate of it all. You know, like I don't love, they made that like cheddar ice cream Van Leeuwen did. But the one like very savory ice cream that I had, the dessert at all, that really changed my mind was everything bagel ice cream from Jenny's, I believe.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Where I was like, I'm here for the candied garlic in it all. I love a salty dessert, but there's something about like a savory dessert that's never quite clicked with me. But I do love getting weird. So I'm down to get weird.
I'm the opposite. I love savory notes in dessert. Like there was this New York Times cookie. It was the gochujang cookie that like exploded. So I love the idea of pushing the envelope. You just gotta, if you are able to do the right R&D, any cookie or any baked good can exist if you just, again, put the right care, attention, and detail into it. I wouldn't do Sweet Baby Ray's. I would actually probably do Casey Masterpiece. So thanks for bringing that up. Because I agree.
Can I complain about one very specific thing?
Hold on. I think Sweet Baby Ray's has too much liquid smoke in it. I think Casey Masterpiece is a little bit, it's not as smoky. And that's why I think it would work. That's why I think it would work better.
Sweeter, yeah. Like a bullseye would never work. A Stubbs would never work. Too savory.
Stubbs would never work.
Not sweet enough.
A Rufus Teague wouldn't work.
In the era where like I started like really going to restaurants and thinking about them, and I was writing about food for magazines, every single dessert was like, here is a classic dessert item, except we've added one herb or spice or fermented ingredient that you don't necessarily want here. Here's a lovely strawberry tart, but there's a lot of black pepper and thyme in it.
I love that.
Here's a lovely chocolate lava cake. Chipotle in the face.
Oh, I love
and that was
stuff.
Every dessert. And I love it.
So much.
We needed it. Mustard in your gelato.
I don't care. Yeah, give it to me. Whatever. Life's short.
Here's my take on it.
What's up?
My take, I'm so with you, Josh. It's it's tricky because I'm like 100%. Get excited about flavor and experimentation and trying things on and know when something is ready for prime time.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. Most of that stuff is like, I want to bottle up that enthusiasm because this is the number one thing I see on menus, sweet and savory across the U.S. dining out, is this mistake of like, I'm so excited about this new ingredient or this new thing. Are they chasing a trend or do they have like noise canceling headphones blinders on, right? Like, is it really coming from them? Are they just excited to try something new? There's nothing wrong with trying something new, but you have to know how to be an editor and know when it's ready for prime time. And most of these things are like, either this doesn't make sense and the balance of flavor isn't right, or my palate is blown, babe. How am I supposed to enjoy anything else? And the like, it might be something for sure, but you have to know when something's ready for prime time. You can't just put it on the menu. You need a team that's your editor, and you need an editing process. And I think that's important. You need a Josh and Nicole. You guys, everyone needs to hire Josh and Nicole as the Are We Ready for Prime Time team. Yeah, they're the frosting in the cake, you know?
Aww, which one do you think you are?
Wait, what was our original podcast name? Butter and the Hot Knife?
Butter and the Hot Knife?
She's butter and I'm the hot knife on 97.3.
That was not our proudest moment.
Christina, truly, thank you so much. This was such a wonderful time on the podcast. You got anything to plug? What you got going on? Cookies?
Just come in and get some cookies, man. We'll ship them to your doorstep, but really like come in for a warm cookie, any of the MilkBar. But to your point, I'm so with you. It's not warm cookie, Nicole. It's a cookie that's been pulled out of the oven. Was it 18 minutes before you come in and get it? It's
Josh
a
said
room
19
temperature
minutes,
cookie. 19 minutes was it?
Yeah.
It's a room temperature cookie that came out of the oven and is cooled just enough for you to really enjoy it. It's neither too hot or too cold. It's just right. And do it because you are part of like the cookie. You believe in the power of a cookie. And also buy more cookies from people because we need more great cookie makers.
Amen.
There's no such thing as too many.
The whisper of heat is left. The breath of heat is left in the cookie. Say, Milo, what
Say your
lines do I have?
your
Oh, thank you
closing
so much for
statements.
stopping by A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. We got new episodes every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast. We got new videos out every Sunday. They know where we are. If they've listened to this far, they know.
Call us 833-DOGPOD1 or tweet at us. You have our handles probably. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Do you need help finding the best store-bought foods? Head over to spork.com to check out the 5 best things they eat every week.